My beloved brothers and sisters, peace and grace be with you all. Let us open our hearts and reflect on something very simple, yet very powerful. Something that has the potential to change your life. Something that can transform your days from chaos into order, from emptiness into purpose. That something is waking up early. Rise early to take control of your day. When a person rises early, they are not just changing the hour they wake up. They are changing the entire rhythm of their life. Waking up early is an act of discipline. It is an act of self-control. It is a quiet declaration that says, I will not let the day rule me, I will rule the day. So many people drift through life feeling overwhelmed and out of control. They are always reacting, always chasing, always late. But when you rise early, you are the one setting the tone. You are the one choosing how the day begins. And when the beginning is right, everything that follows has a stronger chance of being right too. There is something deeply powerful about the early hours of the morning. The world is still. The distractions are fewer. The demands have not yet arrived. It is in this stillness that the mind becomes clear. It is in this stillness that the spirit finds space to breathe. Those who rise late often miss this moment. They rush. They scramble. They feel the weight of the world before they've even had a moment to gather their thoughts. But the one who rises early meets the day with intention, not panic. The early riser is not a slave to the clock. They are a master of their time. They have taken the first and most important step toward ownership of their life. Ownership begins with how you begin your day. If the first thing you do is snooze the alarm, you are already surrendering. But if the first thing you do is rise with purpose, then you are already walking in victory. This doesn't mean that every morning will be perfect or easy, but it means that you begin from a position of strength rather than weakness. It is easy to stay in bed. It is easy to say 5 more minutes. But comfort is the enemy of progress. Comfort is what keeps people stuck. The early morning, though difficult at first, becomes a place of transformation. It becomes a sacred space where you decide what kind of person you want to be. You choose discipline over comfort. You choose progress over procrastination. And in doing so, you choose to grow. Rising early is also about responsibility. Each of us has been given a gift, the gift of time. But what we do with that time reveals who we are. Some waste it, some ignore it. But the wise steward it. The wise use it carefully, purposefully, intentionally. Rising early is one of the clearest signs of someone who values their time. It is not just about getting up at a certain hour. It is about beginning the day with order. When you begin with order, the rest of the day tends to follow in the same spirit. Those who wake early often accomplish more. Not because they have more hours, but because they use their hours better. While others are just getting out of bed, the early riser has already planned, prepared, and prayed. While others are searching for direction, the early riser already has a sense of purpose. This advantage may seem small in one day, but over weeks, months, and years, it becomes a difference so great that it cannot be ignored. It is also important to understand that rising early does not start in the morning. It starts the night before. Discipline in the morning comes from discipline in the evening. You must choose rest over distraction. You must choose preparation over delay. The early morning is not random. It is the fruit of intentional choices. And when those choices are consistent, the habit forms, and the habit strengthens the person. The benefits are not only practical, they are also spiritual. When you rise early, you make room for reflection. You make room for prayer. You make room for quiet conversations with the one who made you. It is in this space that guidance comes. It is in this space that peace enters. And it is in this space that you remember what truly matters. The world is full of noise, but the morning gives you a chance to hear the voice that speaks with clarity and truth. Rising early may seem like a small thing, but it is the first victory of the day. And when you win that first battle, many others become easier. You start to move with purpose. You walk with clarity. You make decisions from a place of calm, not chaos. And all of this begins with one simple but powerful choice to rise early and take control of your day. The morning is a sacred and peaceful time. There is a unique stillness in the early hours that cannot be found later in the day. It is not just quiet in sound, but quiet in spirit. The noise of the world has not yet begun. The traffic has not yet moved. The phones have not yet rung. The distractions have not yet arrived. This is a time when the soul can breathe, when the heart can reflect, and when the mind can think clearly. It is not just a physical calm, but a spiritual one. In the early morning, you are not pulled in 10 different directions. You are not answering messages, reacting to news, or rushing from task to task. You are simply present, awake, and aware. This sacred time is a gift. It is a doorway into something deeper. A chance to listen, to think, to pray. The sacredness of the morning is not created by the sun or the clock, but by what you choose to do with that time. If you fill the morning with noise, you miss its treasure. If you begin it in a hurry, you lose its blessing. But if you approach it with reverence, it becomes a time of renewal. A time when your heart is recentered. A time when your priorities are reset. A time when your soul is reminded of what truly matters. There is wisdom in beginning the day with stillness. It allows you to enter the hours ahead from a place of strength. You are not thrown into the storm of life without preparation. Instead, you step into it calmly with purpose and clarity. This is the power of the sacred morning. It shapes not only your schedule but your spirit. It is the time when you are most in tune with what is true, what is good, and what is eternal. In the sacred morning, you can examine yourself honestly. You can look at your life, your habits, your goals, and your struggles without judgment or noise. You can hear the gentle whisper of conscience that is so often drowned out during the day. You can lift up your heart in prayer, not rushed, not distracted, but focused. You can read, meditate, write, or simply sit in the presence of peace. It is during these moments that insight is born. That decisions are made with clarity. That direction becomes clearer. Many people complain that they don't have time for reflection, for spiritual growth, for silence. But the truth is, the time is there. It is found in the early morning. You don't need to search for it. You simply need to wake up for it. What you find in these hours is not just productivity, but presence. Not just planning, but perspective. This is why the morning is sacred, because it makes space for what is real. It makes room for what lasts. Peace is not just the absence of noise. It is the presence of order, of truth, of focus, and that peace is most accessible in the early hours. Before the voices of the world begin to shout, you have a chance to hear the voice of your own heart. You have a chance to hear the voice of your Creator. You have a chance to ask yourself the questions that get buried later in the day. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What matters most today? Who do I want to become? These questions are not loud, but they are essential, and they are most easily heard in the sacred silence of the morning. Even nature honors the early hours. The birds sing gently. The light breaks slowly. There is a rhythm to creation that whispers, begging with stillness. Those who align themselves with this rhythm often find more peace throughout the day. They are not pulled in every direction because they started the day rooted. They are not shaken by every pressure because they entered the day anchored. The sacred morning is a hidden treasure in plain sight. It does not cost money. It does not require anything fancy. It simply requires a decision to rise with reverence, to meet the morning with purpose, and to treat it not as something to rush through, but as something to embrace. When you do this consistently, you will begin to see how deeply the morning influences your character, your choices, and your peace. Begin the day with silence, prayer, and reflection. The first moments of your day are powerful. They set the tone not only for your schedule, but for your spirit. When you begin the day with silence, you create space to think, to listen, to be. This silence is not emptiness, it is preparation. It is a clearing of the noise before the day begins to fill with demands. In silence, the heart can finally speak and the soul can finally listen. Without this moment of stillness, the mind is rushed, distracted, and easily thrown off balance. But when you begin your day in silence, you begin from a place of inner order. Silence is not just the absence of sound, it is the presence of peace. It is a moment of rest before the motion begins. Many people wake up and immediately reach for their phones, scroll through messages, or check the news. But this habit steals the quiet of the morning. It pulls your attention away from the eternal and into the temporary. It turns your focus outward before you've taken the time to look inward. Starting your day this way trains your mind to be reactive, not intentional. But if you begin with silence, you give yourself the chance to reset, to remember who you are, what you believe, and what truly matters. After silence comes prayer, not rushed words, not ritual for the sake of ritual, but true, humble prayer. The kind of prayer that opens the heart and clears the mind. The kind of prayer that is not about asking for things, but about aligning your will with what is good, pure, and holy. Prayer is not just speaking, it is listening. It is not just requesting, it is surrendering. It is not just a duty, it is a lifeline. Those who pray in the morning enter the day with a spirit of humility. They are not walking in their own strength, but in a higher one. They are not guessing their way forward, but seeking wisdom that does not come from themselves. When you pray at the start of your day, you are acknowledging that you are not the center of the universe. You are placing your trust in something greater, and that posture changes everything. It brings clarity where there is confusion. It brings calm where there is anxiety. It brings strength where there is weakness. A day that begins in prayer is a day that begins in peace. And that peace carries through meetings, traffic, struggles, and stress. Then comes reflection. After silence, after prayer, the heart is prepared to reflect. This is the time to ask real questions. What is my purpose today? Where have I fallen short? Where do I need to grow? How can I serve, love, and live more fully? Reflection is the mirror of the soul. It helps you see yourself clearly, not in shame, but in truth. Without reflection, it is easy to live on autopilot, easy to fall into habits that waste time, weaken character, and steal joy. But with reflection, you live awake, you live aware. Reflection also brings gratitude. When you pause to reflect, you begin to see the blessings that are easily overlooked. The breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, the people in your life, the opportunities in front of you. Gratitude is a powerful force. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, from what is broken to what is still whole. And this shift transforms your entire day. A heart filled with gratitude handles hardship differently. It walks through difficulty with perspective and strength. To begin your day with silence, prayer, and reflection is to begin with intention. It is to say, I will not be ruled by the noise. I will not be led by fear. I will not be driven by distraction. Instead, you are choosing stillness, faith, and wisdom. These choices may seem simple, but their impact is deep. They shape how you speak to others, how you handle stress, how you make decisions, and how you carry yourself through the world. These three, silence, prayer, and reflection, are the foundation of a day lived with purpose. Without them, you are tossed by every wind. With them, you are anchored. And it is in this anchoring that you find true peace, direction, and strength for whatever the day may bring. Early rising leads to clarity, discipline, and strength. When you rise early, you are choosing to separate yourself from the patterns of laziness and delay. This simple act trains the body and mind to submit to a greater purpose. It is not just about waking up, it is about waking up with intention. Clarity comes when the mind is not rushed. The early hours allow you to think clearly because the mind is not yet crowded by the noise of the world. There is space to see what matters. You are not reacting to life, you are preparing for it. In that quiet, clarity is born. You see your priorities. You recognize your distractions. You understand what needs to be done and why. Discipline is built when you do what is difficult before it becomes comfortable. Waking up early is rarely easy, especially when the body wants to rest and the bed feels warm. But pushing through that resistance develops inner strength. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are meant to be. The more you exercise it, the more control you gain over your actions, your thoughts, and your habits. And this discipline does not stay confined to the morning. It follows you throughout the day. It shows up in how you work, how you speak, how you respond. It becomes a way of life. Strength is not only physical. There is a strength of spirit that is built in the quiet hours before the day begins. It is a strength that comes from choosing what is right over what is easy. The one who rises early has already won a battle before others have even begun theirs. That victory builds confidence. It tells you that you are capable of much more than comfort. And over time, this strength becomes unshakable. You learn to stand firm, not because life is easy, but because you are prepared. Rising early is a habit of the strong. It is practiced by those who want more than to simply exist. They want to live with clarity, with direction, with focus. They want their actions to match their values. And that alignment begins with the decision to wake up before the rest of the world, to claim the morning as a time of sharpening of the mind, the heart, and the spirit. In the early hours, your thoughts are not scattered. Your mind is not distracted. You are not carrying the weight of 1,000 unfinished tasks. There is simplicity, and in that simplicity there is clarity. That clarity gives you the ability to plan, to pray, to prepare. You are not in a hurry. You are not in confusion. You are in control. And this kind of control is not about power over others, but power over yourself, your time, your choices, your direction. The discipline formed by early rising also makes it easier to resist the temptations that pull others down. You are less likely to waste time because you have already honored your time. You are less likely to fall into disorder because your day began in order. It becomes a pattern, a rhythm that creates momentum. And once momentum builds, you begin to see progress. Not just in your schedule, but in your character. You become more consistent, more focused, more reliable. And that consistency is where true strength is born. You cannot build a strong life on weak habits. And one of the strongest habits you can build is rising early. It demands something from you, but what it gives back is far greater. A life of clarity, discipline, and strength that is not easily shaken. A structured morning sets the tone for a fruitful day. How you begin your day determines how you carry yourself through it. A morning with structure creates rhythm, and rhythm leads to productivity, focus, and peace. When you have a plan for the early hours, even a simple one, you eliminate confusion. You do not wake up wondering what to do next. You move with purpose. You start with intention. Whether it's time for silence, a walk, a healthy meal, reading, or prayer, these simple acts done consistently form a foundation of order that carries into every task that follows. Structure is not about rigidity. It is about direction. When your first steps are firm, your next steps become easier. A disorganized morning leads to a scattered mind, but a structured morning brings a sense of control. You are not behind. You are not rushing. You are not reactive. You are leading the day rather than letting the day lead you. This mindset gives you an advantage over the chaos that often comes without warning. Each small act in the morning, made with intention, trains your mind to value order and excellence. Making your bed, drinking water, writing your goals, spending time in prayer or thought. These are not meaningless habits. They are decisions that say, I am preparing myself, and preparation is the seed of fruitfulness. You don't bear fruit by accident. You bear fruit because the soil has been prepared. Structure prepares your inner soil. Many complain of unproductive days, of wasted hours, of confusion and stress. But few look to the root the morning. If the root is weak, the fruit will be weak. But if the root is strong, the fruit will follow. A structured morning strengthens that root. It gives you clarity before decisions must be made. It gives you calm before problems arise. It gives you strength before challenges appear. In this way, the morning becomes your shield, not against difficulty, but against disorder. Even when the rest of the day becomes unpredictable, your structured morning remains a constant. It is a daily anchor, a familiar rhythm, a reminder that you are not at the mercy of circumstances. You can choose how to begin, and that choice can lead to greater peace, greater focus, and greater results throughout your day. Laziness delays purpose. Greatness begins with action. Laziness may seem harmless in the moment, but it quietly steals what is most valuable: your time, your energy, and your potential. Each time you choose delay over discipline, you push your purpose further away. You were not created to remain idle. You were created to build, to grow, to lead, to rise. Greatness does not come to those who wait for the perfect moment. It comes to those who act, especially when it is difficult. And often, the first act of greatness is simply to get up, to reject the comfort of the bed, to say no to excuses, and to begin the day with strength. The habit of laziness weakens the mind and dulls the spirit. It makes you forget the fire you once had. It clouds your vision. You begin to settle for less than what you are capable of. But when you choose to act, to rise early, to start with discipline, to walk with intention, you begin to break the cycle. Action sharpens your purpose. It reignites passion. It awakens strength that has long been asleep. Every person who has achieved something meaningful began with one step, one decision, one act of movement. Greatness is not given, it is built, and the building starts when you choose action over delay, discipline over comfort. When you stop waiting and start moving, your purpose becomes clearer, your mind becomes sharper, and your heart becomes stronger. So rise up, not just from your bed, but from every habit that holds you back. Each new morning is a gift, a fresh chance to begin again with purpose and power. Do not waste it in sleep while your calling waits. Do not trade your destiny for a few more minutes of comfort. Choose discipline. Choose strength. Choose to lead your day before it leads you. Because how you start is how you live. And those who master the morning master their life. Wake up early and step boldly into the life you were meant to live.